Okay, so I want you to take a second and just transport yourself back to May 2011.
Oh, wow. Taking it back a bit.
Yeah, I mean, think about where you were. What were you listening to? Because if you were in the US or Europe at the time, the music industry felt like it was basically in a free fall.
It really was. It
Yeah.
was an absolute funeral procession for the plastic disc. Everyone knew the future was digital.
Right, iTunes was totally dominating. Spotify was just kind of starting to stretch its legs in Europe, and the physical CD, it was essentially on life support.
Exactly. If you looked at the sales curves for CDs in the West, I mean, they were pointing straight down. The idea of buying a physical album felt almost quaint.
Like buying a vinyl record in the 90s.
Yeah, exactly like that. The headline in basically every trade magazine was all about the death of physical media.
It was inescapable. But then you look at one specific archipelago. If you pull up the data from Japan on May 25th, 2011, reality just, it kind of breaks.
It absolutely breaks.
On that single day, one CD single released by a girl group didn't just sell well. It sold 942,475 copies.
Nearly a million physical discs
Right.
in 24 hours. It's wild.
That is a staggering statistic. I mean, it defies gravity. It completely defies the market trends of the entire world at that moment.
It really does.
And the song responsible for that anomaly is what we are digging into today for our deep dive. It's the 21st single from the Japanese idol juggernaut AKB48, and it's titled Everyday Katyusha.
And I'm really glad we have the full production notes and the Oricon sales charts for this source material. Because our mission today isn't really to review a pop song.
No, not at all.
We aren't here to critique the melody or the choreography or anything like that. We are dissecting a cultural engine.
That's a great way to put it.
When you look at the logistics behind this release, you realize this wasn't just a song. It was a masterclass in crowd psychology, strategic marketing, and, as we'll see, crisis management, all wrapped up in cellophane.
It really is like the Moneyball of pop music, but just with way more sequence. So we have the spreadsheets, we have the history. Let's unpack how this actually happened. Because every day, Katyusha didn't just buck the trend, it obliterated history.
It did. And to really understand the scale here, we have to look past that first day. You mentioned the 942,000 figure, which is mind-blowing on its own.
It's totally bonkers.
But by the end of the debut week, the single had shifted 1.334 million copies.
1.334 million. Just to give you some context listening at home, in 2011, a gold record in the US was 500,000 units.
Right.
They did nearly triple that in 1 week.
And here's the comparison that really matters to the Japanese industry watchers. That figure set a brand new all-time sales record for singles in Japan.
A brand new record.
Yes. And the previous record holder was the legendary rock band Mr. Children, with their song Namanaki Uta.
And Mr. Children are essentially royalty in Japan. I mean, they aren't an idol group, they're a serious rock band.
Absolutely. They are the organic rock gods over there. And their record had stood since February 1996.
Wow, 1996.
Think about that date. 1996 was the absolute peak of the CD era globally. You had those huge tower record stores. People were buying physical media because there was literally no other option.
Right, streaming wasn't a thing.
Mr. Children set the record when the wind was completely at their backs.
And then AKB48 comes along 15 years later in 2011 when the wind was blowing strictly in the other direction, streaming, piracy, digital downloads. And they just smashed it.
Exactly. It's a total outlier. It's like seeing a steam engine outrun a Tesla. It just shouldn't happen based on the market trend.
No, it shouldn't.
And for AKB48, this wasn't even a fluke. By this point, they were operating on a completely different industrial scale. Every day, Katyusha became their third million-selling single, joining Sakura no Kin, Ninarshu, and Beginner.
So they had already cracked the code. They knew exactly what they were doing.
They had, but this track put the code on steroids. It crossed the 1.5 million sales mark incredibly fast. It was the first single to hit 1.5 million since 2005.
Oh, wow.
And it made AKB48 only the fifth female group in history to reach that milestone.
So it represents the absolute peak of the idol genre in terms of physical muscle. But this is where I get a little skeptical. I listen to the song, and it's a banger. It's a catchy summer pop tune, very high energy. But is it 1.3 million copies good?
That is exactly the right question to ask.
How does a CD sell 1 million copies in a day? Is the music just that undeniable? Or is there some mechanic under the hood that we aren't seeing right away? Because normal people don't buy CDs in 2011.
There is absolutely a mechanic. The music is the vehicle, But the engine driving those sales is something else entirely. If you look at the release information in our sources, the answer is hidden in the phrase First Press Limited Edition.
The first press bonus. What was inside the jewel case?
A ballot.
A ballot.
Specifically, a ticket to vote in the AKB48 22nd Single Senbatsu election.
Okay, we need to stop and really explain the Senbatsu election or Sesenkyo, because this is the genius part of the whole operation. This isn't just a fan club poll where you click a button on a website, is it?
No, it's a democratic process, or perhaps a highly capitalist democratic process, that determines the actual career trajectory of the performers.
Right.
See, AKB48 isn't a static group like the Spice Girls or Destiny's Child, where you have 3 or 4 members and that's it forever.
Right, it's a massive roster.
Exactly,
Sure.
dozens and dozens of girls. But for the next single, the one coming out in the summer, only a select few get to be on the cover. Only a few get to be in the music video.
And usually in the traditional music industry, a producer or a label exec decides who the star is. They pick the face of the group and that's that.
Right. But in this system, the fans decide. The word senbatsu literally translates to selection, and it is decided by the number of votes a member receives.
Okay.
And the way you cast a vote is by entering a serial number found inside the everyday Katyusha CD.
So let me maximize this logic so I understand it completely. If I am a diehard fan of a specific member, let's say she's a rookie, she's sitting on the back bench, she doesn't get any TV time, and I want her to be a star, I need to vote for her.
Correct. Your vote could literally change her career overnight.
And if I want to guarantee she beats her rival, I can't just vote once, can I?
1 CD equals 1 vote. If you want to cast 10 votes, you buy 10 CDs. If you want to cast 1,000 votes, you buy 1,000 CDs.
That completely changes the value proposition. You aren't really buying music anymore, you're buying influence.
Precisely. It's the ultimate gamification of consumption. You are not just a listener, you are a stakeholder. You essentially become a campaign manager.
A campaign manager, wow.
The purchase of the music is tied directly to the hierarchy of the group. The fans feel a profound sense of responsibility. Like, if I don't buy this CD, my favorite member might drop in the rankings.
That perfectly explains the explosion in sales. It explains why one person might walk out of a store with a box full of the exact same CD. The disc itself is almost irrelevant at that point. It's just the container for the ballot.
Yes, exactly.
It's like buying a chocolate bar just to get the golden ticket inside.
It's a brilliant economic model, but it only works if you have a roster big enough to generate that kind of fierce competition. You need rivalries.
Right, you need different factions to root for.
And looking at the credits for Everyday Katyusha, this isn't a quartet, it's practically an army.
It really reads like a corporate organizational chart. I was looking at the contributing members list and the source notes, and the sheer scale is overwhelming. Break down the structure for us. Who are these people?
So at the very top of the pyramid, you have the center. For this specific title track, the center position was held by Atsuko Maeda.
The absolute face of the group at the time. The ace.
She was the focal point.
Yeah.
But backing her up, you have the Senbatsu team, and they are drawn from multiple internal factions. You have Team A, Team K, and Team B.
And these aren't just random letters, right? They have different identities and vibes.
They definitely do. Team A was the flagship, the original team, with heavy hitters like Minami Takahashi and Mariko Shinoda.
Okay.
Team K was known for being more energetic, powerful, maybe a bit edgier, featuring members like Yuko Oshima and Tomomi Itano.
Got it.
And then Team B was the more traditional, idol-like, cute team, with Yuki Kashiwagi and Mayu Watanabe.
So you already have these internal tribes competing against each other, but looking at the production notes, it actually goes way beyond just the main AKB group in Akihabara.
Right. This is where the real empire expansion comes in. They brought in reinforcements from the sister groups.
Sister groups.
Yeah, you see members from SKE48, that's the group based in Sakai, Nagoya, specifically Team S with Jurina Matsui and Rina Matsui. And you also have members from NMB48 based in Namba, Osaka, like Sayaka Yamamoto.
It's basically like the Avengers assembling. You're pulling the top talent from Tokyo, Nagoya, and Osaka all onto one track.
It signals to the consumer that this is a major event single. It's a national festival, not just a localized Tokyo release. But what I find really fascinating is the depth of the roster.
How so?
Well, even if a member wasn't popular enough to make it into this Avengers group for the main song, they were still working. They were still helping to sell the CD.
Ah, because of the B-sides.
Exactly. It's a beautifully tiered structure. The source lists a song called Hito no Chikara that wasn't performed by the stars. It was performed by a group branded as the Undergirls.
Undergirls. They aren't very subtle with the naming conventions, are they?
No, it's brutal honesty. It implies they are literally under the main selection, fighting to get up.
Right.
And then you have the track Anti, which was performed by Team Kenkisai.
And Kenkis means trainee or research student, right?
Yes. This track featured the 9th, 10th, and 11th generations of trainees. So you have a single product that showcases the megastars, the mid-tier idols grinding their way up, and the absolute rookies all in one package.
It creates this vibe of a massive living organism. If you follow the rookies, you buy the CD for the anti-track. If you love the Nagoya group, you buy it to support Jirina Matsui. It essentially covers every possible demographic within the fandom.
It maximizes the surface area for sales.
Yeah.
There is zero wasted talent in the system. Everyone is monetized.
Now, even with the voting system and the massive roster, you still need exposure. You can't sell 1 million units in a vacuum. And in May 2011, you basically couldn't walk down a street in Tokyo without hearing this melody.
The multimedia tie-ins were incredibly aggressive. This is what the industry calls a media mix strategy.
Okay, tell me about that.
The song was attached to major visual media releases that created a constant feedback loop. First, every day, Katyusha was the theme song for the film Moshidora.
Moshidora. That's the movie with the incredibly long title, right? Something like, what if a female manager of a high school baseball team read Drucker's management?
That's the one. It was a huge pop culture moment all by itself, mixing high school baseball with corporate management theory. And crucially, it starred Atsuko Maeda and Minami Minagishi.
Oh, I see.
So the movie promotes the song, and the song promotes the movie. It's a perfect loop.
And it wasn't just the cinema either. There was a TV drama tie-in too, right?
Yes, for one of the B-sides. The track Yankee Soul served as the opening theme for Maijisuka Gakumen 2 on TV Tokyo.
Which is a drama about delinquent schoolgirls fighting for supremacy, cast almost entirely with AKB members.
Exactly. So if you watch TV, you heard the songs. If you went to the movies, you heard the songs. And the quality control was incredibly high throughout all of this. The lyrics for all these tracks were written by the producer, Yasushi Akimoto.
The mastermind behind the whole project.
And the music for the title track was composed by Yoshimasa Inoue, who really defined that high-energy orchestral pop sound that AKB is known for. It was designed from the ground up to be an earworm.
Right.
It wasn't thrown together. It was meticulously crafted to stick in your head.
We also need to talk about the physical packaging again. Because it wasn't just about the voting ticket hidden inside. The actual product on the shelf had variations.
This is pretty standard practice now in K-pop and J-pop, but it was executed perfectly here. You had Type A and Type B versions of the single.
So if I'm standing in a record store in Shibuya, what's the difference? Why do I pick one over the other?
Well, Type A included a DVD with the music clips and a special drama version of the everyday Katyusha music video.
Okay.
Type B had a dance version of the video, focusing heavily on the choreography, and a completely different audio track, which was Hito no Chikara.
So if I'm a hardcore fan and I want the drama video and the dance video,
You had to buy both.
and if I want the Undergirl song and the trainee song we talked about,
You need to go find the theater edition, which included the track Anti. So to get every song and every piece of video content, a fan is heavily incentivized to buy at least 3 distinct copies.
and that's before you even factor in buying extra copies for the voting tickets. It's a machine designed to multiply the transaction value of every single customer.
It really is. But, and I think this is a really important pivot we need to make here, if we just view this as cold, calculated capitalism, we kind of miss the emotional reality of the time. We have to look at the date again, May 2011.
Right. This is only 2 months after March 11th, the Great East Japan earthquake and tsunami.
The country was in a state of deep national trauma. There was this mood called jishuku, or self-restraint, that was completely dominant.
What did that look like?
People felt guilty about having fun. Concerts were canceled left and right. The lights in Tokyo were literally dimmed to save power. The recovery was just barely beginning.
That is an incredibly heavy context for a bubbly, upbeat pop song about summer and headbands. Did the release acknowledge that reality at all? Or did they just ignore it and push forward?
It did acknowledge it, and this is crucial. The sources note that it was announced that a portion of the proceeds from this album would be donated to help victims of the disaster.
Oh, wow.
AKB48 had launched the Doreka no Tame Ni, or For Someone's Sake project.
That adds a completely different layer to those massive sales figures.
It really does. When you see 1.3 million copies sold, yes, it's about the voting. Yes, it's about the catchy tune. But there is also an element of collective effort there. Fans knew that their purchase was contributing, in some small way, to the relief efforts.
It bridges that gap between a commercial product and social responsibility. It almost gives people permission to enjoy something fun and pop-oriented during a really dark time because they know it's also helping.
Precisely. It allowed the idol genre to be an active part of the recovery narrative. It signaled to the public that it was okay to be energetic again, that Genki energy and health was needed for the country to bounce back.
So we have the brilliant sales strategy, the Avengers-style roster, the multimedia dominance, and this very specific historical moment of national recovery. Given all that, it's no surprise that the industry critics and the award shows had to pay attention. You can't just ignore a cultural object this big, even if it is manufactured pop.
You really can't. The trophy cabinet for this single is pretty full.
Run us through the accolades. Did it get actual respect from the industry or just raw sales numbers?
It got both, actually.
Yeah.
At the Billboard Japan Music Awards in 2011, it completely cleaned up. It won Hot 100 of the Year and Hot 100 Single Sales of the Year.
A double win. And Billboard uses a complex metric, right? It's not just CD sales, it incorporates airplay and other data.
Exactly. So it wasn't just superfans buying boxes of CDs to vote. The song was genuinely being played everywhere.
Right.
Then, moving into 2012, it took Single of the Year at the Japan Gold Disc Awards. And significantly, as late as 2013, it won the Bronze Award at the JSRAC Awards.
JSRAC tracks royalties and copyright usage,
Yeah.
so that means the song was being used in karaoke, on TV, in local businesses.
It shows serious longevity. A quick sales burst doesn't win you a JSRAC Award 2 years after release. And if we look at the charts summarized in the source material, it's just a solid wall of number ones.
Let's hear them.
Number 1 on Oricon Daily. Number 1 on Oricon Weekly, number 1 on Oricon Monthly, number 1 on the Billboard Japan Hot 100.
What about digital? Because we said physical media was the focus of the voting, but were everyday people downloading it too?
Yes, they were. It hit number 1 on the RIAJ digital track chart.
Yeah.
So people were definitely downloading it too, not just buying the CD for the ticket. The song had real legs.
It really was total domination across every metric.
And impressively, on the Oricon Yearly Singles Chart for 2011, it held the number 2 spot.
Wait, if it was number 2, who was number 1?
Another AKB48's single, Flying Get, which came out later that year, and that one was actually driven by the results of the election we just talked about.
So they were literally just competing with themselves at the top of the charts.
They owned the podium. They didn't just participate in the market, they were the market.
So when we step back and look at Everyday, Katyusha as a whole, it really feels like a perfect storm.
It is the absolute convergence of several powerful forces. You have the idol culture reaching its peak mass appeal. You have the strategic brilliance of the Senbatsu election, turning passive fans into active participants.
Right.
You have the multimedia synergy with the movies and dramas, keeping the song in the public consciousness.
And the somber reality of the 2011 earthquake providing a backdrop where people perhaps needed that collective connection and a way to donate while also needing an escape from the news.
All anchored by Atsuko Maeda and a roster of talent that was, frankly, unmatched in size and scope anywhere else in the world.
It proves that in this specific industry, the CD became something far more than just a music delivery format. It became a key to a community, a key to voting power, and a key to exclusive content.
That's the big takeaway for me. The music is obviously central. It has to be catchy to work. But the true product is the experience of being an AKB48 supporter.
Yeah.
Every day, Katyusha is the ultimate example of selling that experience.
It certainly is. And it leaves me with a thought I want to throw out there for you listening. We so often romanticize the art of music. But when you look at Everyday, Katyusha, which created such a massive economic footprint through voting tickets, multiple versions, and media tie-ins, does the music drive the sales, or do the sales and the intricate system designed to generate them actually drive the music?
That is the million-copy question.
It sure is. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the phenomenon of Everyday, Katyusha.
It was a pleasure to be here.
We'll catch you on the next one.